what we think is one of the causes of violence or poverty and stuff that's in the communities, and a lot of times education always comes up. And the experiences that the young people always shared was talking about how they didn't feel like they got equal resources, and how they felt like a lot of times their teachers, guidance counselors, it didn't make them feel like they should be in school, especially if they were struggling. They all, we've heard stories from people about how like people would kind of encourage them to kind of drop out.
The MCAS is a state mandated exam that looks at where kids are when it comes to certain core subjects: mathematics, English, science, and soon to be history. And so it looks at what have you learned and whether or not you are capable of knowing enough information to graduate from high school looking at those core subjects.
First, we went through weeks of training for it and stuff like that, and they put mad pressure on us. Oh, if you don't do this, you're gonna fail and have to take it next year and be sub juniors and stuff like that. And it just made it even tenser for us to pass it.
What is your personal take on the MCAS?
Sure. Like most educators, we may feel that why should one exam be the sole indicator of whether or not you can graduate? And so some of us have personal feelings. My personal feeling is that it's unfortunate that right now, we are a state that looks at this one exam as a way for you to graduate from high school.
I do agree that there is a need for a standardized test, but I think these could be designed a little bit more equitably for some of these students. I think the immigrant population has a problem with them because even though it's math, there is a language difficulty with them.
And this, by having MCAS, it kind of just brings all the attention to only that and takes away the resources and the creativity that can exist in teaching that helps to stimulate people and makes them want to come to school.
Only 57% of students in the BPS passed the MCAS compared to 81% statewide. The most vulnerable students and those who are considered high risk are systematically being pushed out and marginalized by MCAS.
I've had people that I thought were unjustly treated because of the MCAS, that if it weren't for the MCAS, the student would have been fine, would have succeeded in higher education or in a job type of a situation. So sometimes the testing procedures aren't appropriate for all of the people that they're meant to test.
MCAS results have a high correlation with family income. Why do you think low-income communities are unfairly affected?
I think learning takes place in school, but it also takes place in the home. If you're low income, perhaps families don't have extra resources to take the students on trips or to the museum or have books in the house and have interesting discussions at the dining room table.
With no sign of the dropout rate decreasing, officials are scrambling to find solutions while many youth point to the unfairness of the Massachusetts Comprehensive Assessment System, otherwise known as MCAS. Boston Public Schools, the largest school system in Massachusetts, and especially inner city schools, are the hardest hit.
Like the differences in school systems, like urban compared to suburban learning systems, like Norwood and Westwood compared to Dorchester High and Madison High School. We don't have the same textbooks, we don't have the same teaching staff, so we're not equipped to succeed in a way, so the odds are already kind of against us. So, and the MCAS doesn't make it any better.
So it just takes away all the focus from where the real problems are, because it's not fixing the fact that the school is still underfunded. It's not fixing the fact that there's still lack of materials, that the buildings aren't up to code in a lot of places. It's not addressing the issues that the young people deal with every day. And you know what? If you have a lot of stress in your life, and how are you going to come into school and be able to learn properly, especially when there's not a proper environment?
Dropout rates have increased since MCAS became mandatory in 2003. The reasons for dropping out range from academic, school climate, and personal. While some of the factors are difficult to control, the way students are prepped for the MCAS is still in our hands.
Having teachers just supporting you, just be like, you can do it. I'll be here for you. Like, if you don't understand a concept, I'll be here and we'll help you through it.
They should do like a pre-testing to see where everybody's at.
Schools need to have tutors, more tutors in the schools, so they can work with students one-on-one.
MCAS prep should be during the day, like at one of 4 of our classes, so that we don't have to take it after school, because certain kids have things to do after school. They have work, family problems. They have stuff to do after school. So it should be one of our main priorities.
The positive side is, kids get the chance, to take everything they learned in high school and then put it into the test. But at the same time, it shouldn't have a test, determine your road from there.
While those in decision-making positions may not see how MCAS fueling the dropout crisis is an issue to them, consider this. Each high school dropout costs the taxpayer $455,000 over a lifetime, ranging from health care subsidies to incarceration costs.
MCAS is very political, and you tend to be demonized if you don't support the MCAS. And so that's a frustration that we felt. And it's not that we're saying no testing, no MCAS. We're saying let's not ignore the dropout rate that's increasing. Let's not ignore this lack of resources that was already there. Let's focus on those things, and then maybe we can talk about how to test and test in a fair way, when you actually have the resources to allow people to study or be able to pass the test.